Hey, I'm out in the garden today, and the weeds are starting to come back in some of the beds that I weeded, but I haven't planted in yet, which is very annoying, and it happens every year. Some of them I have covered with like cardboard temporarily to keep the weeds down until I plant in them, but I didn't have enough, so I'm gonna have to reweed, especially some right in here. But anyway, we have started on the summer crops. I do have some beds in that have like cabbage and stuff. Only a couple, and it's been so dry. We are in a severe drought that I've never seen for this time of year. Usually spring is our very wet season, and it's hard to get in the garden because it's so muddy, but this time it's super dry. We are in like a 3.5-inch deficit for the year, and we've only had 0.32 inches of rain for the month. It's really bad. So anyway, I am fixing to get my sprinkler up and going, which is, I'll show it to you in a minute, but it's up on this big pole and it reaches about 50 feet. It's one that, like my dad uses up on the big farm for the big gardens. So I have to be very careful with some of my new seedlings because that type of sprinkler can be very hard on them. We are just not in a financial position to do irrigation yet. That is future plans, but for now it is what it is. However, I am really happy with this bed. So this is our first bed on the left as you walk into the garden. I got a scrap piece of cattle panel from a friend of mine who was using it for her display booth for a craft fair. She cut it up and then after a few years changed her thing and gave me the cut up pieces. So this one is just over 10 feet long, so it's perfect for this size bed. It hangs over a couple inches on the end, but that does not bother me. And so what we have is I really heavily planted this bed. So I have a Zoysia tomato, a mortgage lifter, a black Krim, 2 carbon, and 2 pineapple. I could have planted all of one thing, but I wanted to mix it up with the flavors and also to give just beauty as you walk into this garden. And below, I have put in large Kilimanjaro marigold, opal basil, marigold. I think that's a cinnamon basil, opal basil, and lime basil, regular basil, nasturtium, and then all in and around the tomatoes and the basils. Up here is carrots underneath the tomatoes and in front, and all around the basils, and marigolds is lettuce seeds. So I really sprinkled those in there. Not too heavy, but I did sprinkle them in. And I went ahead and tied my tomato plants because some of them have really thick stems. However, we are really breezy and dry, and again, this really powerful sprinkler. So on the back side, I have put in a variety of yellow, red, and green peppers, and a few of them on the end I need to top. I've also put in down here a marigold that got stepped on, so it's looking pretty pitiful. Some hyssop, parsley. Down in front I have some celery, more parsley, and then some holy basil back in here, and some nasturtium on the end, and some more marigold. So I did not put any seeds in around these, but I may change my mind on that. I might go back and put some radish or something in. However, I am pretty happy with that bed. So I'm hoping once it's big and flourishing and I get all these weeds out of here, it's going to be stunning. And I'd like to do something similar over here. I just have garlic, so I may mimic it over here on the front, or I may just put flowers in. I'm not sure. On this one, this is one of the ones I have planted a while back, and it's just not doing well at all. I used seed tape, so I have like radish and beets and things like that in there. Some lettuce, which I have gone back in and put a little bit more. Lettuce, broccoli, cabbage. It's just not doing well with the little bit that I've been able to water it by hand. So that's why we are going to get the sprinkler up and going. So that's bed number 2. So as you can see, I have brought all my plants out of the greenhouse. I have them sitting below the beds on the north side, so they're not exposed to full sun right off the bat and the heat, because we are already in the 90s in early April. So this is a little early for me to plant out peppers and tomatoes, but it is so hot that they needed to come out of the greenhouse. So here's the back side of that second bed, more things lined up that I'm pulling from to plant. This one's not planted yet, but here's another piece of that trellis that I'm going to put up right there. As you can see, I'm starting to spread plants out as I go. More plants tucked in here. This is one of those beds that had been weeded and I have to reweed. And then my son had also dumped some compost on top. This one right here, I may try to get done. I'm not sure. The sun's about to come over the tree, so I really need to water this garden. But I have something coming up right there. I think it might be carrots. I may just pull it. I don't know. I do have a sunflower coming up I will leave. But this one will be really easy to weed out because that stuff comes out really quick. Another piece of that cattle panel that I'm going to use right here. And I do have some arches for my cabbages if they ever take off and the moths start to come. This bed, again, cabbages and broccoli and kale, and it's just looking kind of pitiful. These are the ones that got really weedy again. I had all of the weeds pulled and in the alleyways and the beds, and you see it's coming back, but we had one small rainstorm, not enough to do anything for us, but enough to get the weeds going. All right, so this is another bed that's already planted, and this one is doing pretty good. This is actually potatoes coming up, and then I do have onions in here and some cabbage, and this one is looking okay. I think it stays shady more than the ones in the front, and it has some nice compost from the barn on top, so I think that has helped kind of do some water retention. I do have some nut grass coming up in it too. I'm trying to stay on top of that, but it's a pain in the butt. So anyway, that's about all I have in here so far. I've only got 4 beds totally planted up out of 20 plus the 2 90-foot beds, which we're not even going to talk about right now. So that's where we're at, guys.